Can you imagine the city of Houston without its rhythm? Without its movement? Before salsa hit the scene, this city was missing something. Here is a short clip from our latest film, Houston con Salsa. To truly grasp salsa's impact on Houston's rich diversity, let's travel back in time to explore what Houston looked like before salsa's arrival.
The salsa scene was not like it is today.
But when I came to Houston, absolutely no salsa scene. Now keep in mind, this is 1968. Latin music that I was hearing was not salsa music.
When everybody was used to saying Latin, they're only referred to the Hispanic or Spanish-speaking music, and for a while it was considered only that Mexican-American music, the Tejano music.
That was the strong community here. The Mexican-American was still is, since Texas is so close to Mexico. But then the Cuban and Puerto Rican and our community was very small, very, very small. You could count them,
In 1983, when I first came back to Houston, let's say the Latin community was a silent community, seen but not necessarily heard.
With my experience with the public affairs program over Houston, I was able to bring in Latinos from Central America. We're talking about Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, and other countries. And that, I guess, helped me realize that everything isn't just Mexican here. It's just that every other group was not getting the attention that the Mexicans were getting. When I first came to Houston, there were a couple of groups that I kind of latched onto to a certain extent. Back then, it was kind of difficult to find them, but once you did, you wanted to try and follow them. One was Angelucho in Copacabana, and the other was Norma Zenteno. Norma Zenteno is no longer with us, but she had a vibrance that I remembered from my childhood.
When I started, like the 70s, 73 or whatever, I had the privilege to sing with the Roberto Zenteno orchestra. He was the father of our great friend Norma Zenteno, which we lost a few years back. And Roberto Zenteno was like a father figure with me. We also had Hector Guerra. He was known as El Cabrito, Hector Guerra. And he would play at Thailand's Motel in South Main by the medical center. Very popular place. Then they had a little joint called Valencia Club. That was where everything really started here. And a great musician from Venezuela, great percussionist, his name was Gerardo Mendoza. He's back in his country. He had a 4-piece there and would play the salsa music already, the Latin music. Gerardo was another pioneer, Gerardo Mendoza. And so they had, all that. Then they had these young kids that came from Puerto Rico, Orquesta La Creación, like the creation, back in the 70s. And so all of us were already, creating the salsa flow and the salsa feel in Houston. Some came later, some came after, that I was around that time.
It was difficult bringing that new thing, salsa, into the American public.
I came to Houston in 1995 to study music, and back then it was really, to me, it was shocking. I did not see that diversity that I experienced in Panama, that I experienced in New York, where you could get Dominican food, you could get Puerto Rican food, you could get Cuban food, you can get food from Jamaica, from all the different countries.
Unique perspective, because I'm half Puerto Rican, half Guatemalan, and at the time growing up, and even now when you look at Houston's north side, predominantly Mexican. On one minute in my own kitchen there may have been like Celia Cruz, but then I'm going to parties where there's like Selena, So it was such a unique experience for me growing up in that neighborhood. But I think that's why later on in life, as salsa became more of a presence in my own personal life, maybe people wouldn't assume this about me, but I had to also research it just as much as other people, even though I'm half Guatemalan, Puerto Rican, because that's not the actual culture I grew up in, being that I was in North Side.
I think I was part of a new revolution that started in the early 90s here, that we were kind of like in cocoons. We were like underground, and were start presenting good shows and performance with the different type of music. So Houston was very, very pleased with that revolution. So I think I was one of the pioneers that started to really make public and a kind of like a different levels of performance, such as corporate parties, city officials events. Not only a Spanish-speaking performance, but a salsa and Caribbean music performance.
Things have changed considerably over the years, because now the Latin culture is part and parcel of the culture of this city of Houston. And they have certainly left a footprint and are leaving a legacy. So much has changed in terms of including the Latin community in this whole area of the nation.
Y me ha tocado ver una evolución significativa en la música latina acá, porque la influencia de los músicos nuevos que van llegando, con proyectos nuevos que van surgiendo, con ideas nuevas y con el afán de defender las culturas de cada uno de nuestros países, definitivamente va a hacer que un género, que un proyecto, que un país o que una cultura pues definitivamente crezca y se dé a conocer.
To watch the full documentary, visit totalmedulla.com.